www.hardtalkgrenada.com.
Grenada. A special good morning to all of you joining us on 97.5 City Sound FM, 89.5 CRFM, 92.9 Sister Isle Radio broadcasting from Hillsborough, Carriacou, and of course 94.9 the Big Bad WI Noise Radio out there in Brooklyn, New York. A very special good morning to all of you joining us on the live video. Remember to like the live, share the live, get everybody involved in the conversation. This morning is a very packed morning. We are going to be filled with information. Right next to me, I have the president of the New National Party's Women's Arm, and she's going to be sharing with us some information on the upcoming activities that the Women's Arm has planned for the upcoming Women's Day, which is March the 8th. And of course, next to her, co-hosting with me today, I have none other than Mr. Devon Romaine. All right. Also, please stay tuned because we have Mr. Kevin Frederick and, of course, our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Francis Martin, and he's going to be here. They are going to be here sharing some updates with us as it relates to Grenada's preparedness for the coronavirus. So stay tuned with us. Invite your friends, call your neighbors, tell them to log in and listen. Some very, very important information is going to be shared here today. So let me just let our guests say good morning. Good morning, Mrs. Hood.
Good morning. Good morning to everyone. And good morning to you and the members in the studio here, and to all of the listeners out there, near and far. I know lots of people are listening.
And good morning, Devon.
Good morning
Morning.
to you, and good morning,
Morning.
Masood, and good morning to our listener public out there. Hope everyone is having a wonderful morning.
Great. The weather is good today, so
It
that's
is.
wonderful.
It is.
Okay.
All right. So, Mrs. Hood, you are here in your capacity as president of the Women's Arm for the New National Party to
Yes,
share
I
with
am.
us some information on the activities that you guys have planned for International Women's Day.
Yes, I am. And as you said earlier, International Women's Day will be celebrated on March 8th, which is Sunday. But prior to that, we have planned a series of activities.
Okay.
And this is my purpose for being here this morning, just to update the listening public as to what will be happening in the various constituencies, and also to encourage persons to get involved, because as you know, we need to do something about the whole issue of violence against women and
Absolutely.
children. And I think the more we go out there and talk about it, more we say we want zero tolerance, and the public getting involved. And it's not only women, we want the men also to be involved, because I know that there are lots of men out there who are totally against it. So
Yeah.
what we are planning to do, and we started planning this activity about a week or so ago, starting tomorrow at midday, we have asked the various constituencies to have a moment of prayer at
Okay.
1 p.m. in the afternoon, so that, every constituency, they will be gathering in their various constituencies, and they will be praying. They may be asking a pastor to come in, or just themselves, because what we want, we are praying for Grenada, we are praying for the nation, we are praying for the families, and the children, and we are asking God to guide and protect us
Right.
here in Grenada, because they say prayers move mountains. And this is why I am so elated that when we met as a committee, that all of the women who were present there were very supportive of this idea.
Okay.
And I think this is something that even people who are not involved with the constituencies, if they have friends, they too can get together and have a prayer. At 1 o'clock, we will be praying throughout the length and breadth of Grenada, Carriacou, and Peter Martinique, getting persons involved and asking God to guide and protect us. We have to be thankful and be grateful for all that we have received so far, but we also have to ask for His guidance going forward.
Okay.
And that is the purpose of that meeting, that gathering tomorrow at 1 p.m. And it may be just for an hour, it could be for an hour, could be half an hour, but every constituency will decide how long they would like to do it. I guess they will be taking an hour of their lunch, during their lunch period, and do what is necessary. I know that they are very excited. We have been following up with the various constituencies, and we have a list, the majority of them have given the location, and it's going to be in their office, where they will be having, I believe, just one constituency, and that is St. Andrews Northwest. They will be having it at another location, but I have asked that this information during the week, this is going to be tomorrow, so hopefully later on today, before you go off the program, you may have that location.
Okay.
Okay, but it's all will be at the constituency office, start tomorrow at 1 p.m. And as I said, is a prayer there, just to give thanks and praise, and we are praying for the families, and we are praying for the nation. And then we decided, leading up to International Women's Day again, on Wednesday, we decided that we should have a candlelight vigil. And this candlelight vigil, it was raised by a female member who supported it, encouraged it, that, we need to really talk about the whole issue of violence against the women here in our country. It is getting to be, it is a crime, and it is something that must be stopped. It has to be a zero tolerance. I know that the legal department, the Ministry of Social Services, and other organizations put instructions in place, but I believe in our various communities, in our various churches, we need to talk more about it. We need to let people know that this is not acceptable, and I would want that, everyone get involved. So what we planned is on Wednesday, we will be having a night vigil, candlelight vigil, where we're asking again the various constituencies to get involved, to coordinate, and bring people at the various locations, and just to have, it could be a silence march. You just stand there with your candles. Some of them are going to be getting pastors to come and speak and pray, and that may last for an hour or two. And I do have a location of where there will be. I know for the St. Andrews Northeast, they will be at the Paradise Junction from 6 p.m. Subi's Office Yard, and that is St. Andrews Southeast. Then I have for Latant Junction, and that is the St. David's. They will be in the Latant Junction, and all of them will be at 6 p.m. on Wednesday. Then we have the St. George Northwest constituency office. They will be at the Bushes U playing field, and that's a large place, so I hope as many people as possible will come out and give the support there. Then another one that I have is we had Rose Hill Junction to the river to River Sally, and that starts at 6 p.m. and that is St. Patrick's East. St. Patrick's West, we have the Anglican Schoolyard to Sotes bus terminus. So they will be walking down to there, and that is 6 p.m. So the locations are coming in, and hopefully we will get all by the end of the day, and we will let people know that, and all of the organizations out there, like GNOW and those organizations who are conscious of, the rights of women and the abuse that they face, as they hear this, they will come out and give their full support in this vigil. I think this is the beginning of what we will be doing over the next few months. I think prayers will, as I said, it move mountains, and I think we as a nation need to pray more. And these are things that the women's arm of the party will be encouraging, so that we can always and maybe see how it happens, and maybe once a month we can do something so that we can build the awareness, because we do not want our country to go down the gutter. We want love is the answer to all of this, because I always say, if you love each other, you wouldn't be doing the things that you do to destroy or to hate each other or to hurt anyone. And I think with the prayers and the good Lord is looking down at us, and we have to be grateful that we are here in this part of the world where we want it to remain as peaceful. We have seen some, challenges that we have faced earlier this year, but I hope with prayers and fasting. I mean, this is Lent for those of you who are Catholic. There's always, you can do something that you haven't done for the past month, for the next 40 days, to give thanks and praise to the Almighty. So this is what we are doing as the National Women's Arm. And also we are going to be joining with Social Development, and that's the ministry, and also the Women's Caucus for Sunday, next Sunday, to be for the rally that will be held, and we are hoping that as many people as possible. But the ministry and the caucus will be talking about it later on in the week to inform persons as to where it will be, and we at the party level will try to mobilize our people so that they can come out and give, and listen to the speakers and hear what they have to say. Because together we can build, when we fight with each other, we destroy.
Of
and
course.
That's is not what we want to do.
Yeah. All right, well, it seems like you guys have a full packed schedule to celebrate Women's Day, but also to bring about awareness for women, and that's a topic that needs a whole lengthy conversation, because, I mean, it's happening here in Grenada. It seems to be very prevalent, and also it seems like some women feel like they have no other choice but to be in the situation, but if we can give guidance, if we can give support, if we can give advice, I think that would be very helpful.
I agree with you, because some people feel vulnerable.
Yeah.
They feel that, they have no choice. The women, many of the women who stay in the situation, but we have to show them that they have choices, and this is why it's important that we have to create opportunities. And this is what we are doing as an organization, trying to see how we can get employment opportunities for these women so that they can be self-sufficient to look after themselves. Because invariably, a lot of the women who remain in these situations are women who depend on the other partner to look after them. And we want to say, no, you need to, some of them are scared, they have small children, they don't know where to turn. So we have to educate and inform and see what we can do as a woman's arm so that we can create opportunities for these women in our nation.
Absolutely.
Because,
I want to ask a question. What is the organization or women organizations on a whole in Grenada doing to involve much more of the men?
Well, as an events that we have, like the prayers and so the vigil and all of that, we'd want men to come out to it. So it's been organized by the National Women's Arm, but it's not only for women. We want the nation to be involved. It's like International Women's Day on Sunday when this is out there is going to be in St. Andrews. But we want men to come out because there are men who are very sensitive and conscious of the fact that we need a zero tolerance. There are lots
That's
of men
right.
because not all of men, all of the men are doing abusing the women. There are men who are very, very conscious and they talk about it all the time. If you listen to the talk show, you would hear men calling in about how they are concerned, and they usually give some good suggestions as to what to happen. So we are not only working with women. We want the men also to be involved in this movement so that we can look at what we can do in a very holistic way.
Because I think it is very important getting men, as much men involved as possible, because a lot of the solutions, right,
Will have to.
can come from men ideas.
Yeah.
Because as you say, a lot of the abuse that is going on, women are on the receiving end.
Exactly.
But if you, my point is, if you involve much more men and so, perhaps, you will have a better idea as to how some men think when it comes to abuse and the way they treat women and so. But again, that's another topic that
But
we'll
but
have to
but the
explore.
question that you raise is very important to engage the men, to get them involved,
Definitely. I
because
think
there are
it's-
men out there who are doing this because it's learned behavior. They might have been
Yes.
brought up in an
Yes.
environment as a
Yes.
child where they
Yeah.
saw their parents were
Yes.
abused and they thought it's the norm, so they continue it. But they have to understand it is not acceptable, and therefore they have. Many of the men perhaps needs to be in counseling. They need to you say, well, this is not acceptable. We put many when they charge them, the serious one where women lose their life, they go to prison. But rehabilitation is the answer for a lot of these men that are out there. And if we can start at a very young age, where we can engage the boys and let them know, hey, this is not acceptable. Let us see what we can do. Is dealing with conflict. I mean, sometimes it's just little things, and it carry on and on and on to a big thing. And then they cry and they say, I'm so sorry. I didn't expect this to happen. So is the conflict resolution is also very important. I'm not saying that men are the only one who do not know how to deal with conflict. There are lots of women who do not know how to deal with conflict. But
Yeah.
we need to find a way to begin the process. And we at the New National Party Women's want to take the lead and to support what is happening here in the country. Because there are organizations that are there who are doing a lot, and we want to compliment them. We want to support them. The Ministry of Social Development, we want to work with them, GNOW, and those other organizations.
Because I think as a party, if the women's organization get much more of our men within the party involved, that movement could be, a
That's
force
very
to reckon with.
well. The thing about it is, and this is why I'm speaking here this morning, so that the men who are listening and in the various constituencies, the men will come out. If they cannot make it for tomorrow, but at least the candlelight vigil on Wednesday night is a good opportunity, and I believe that we need to do more of this to really build awareness and also look at alternatives. What can I do? What are the suggestions? If women and we are doing quite a lot, and this is something that I need to come and talk to you about at a later date, some of the activities that are taking place, some of the programs, so that women can feel more dependent on themselves and not independent. They can feel more independent and not dependent on others for them, for their
Yeah.
livelihood. So
But
we-
also, I think it's important to note that maybe it's time for some individual, because we have a lot of women's groups. A lot of women's groups. There's Gino, there's all of these women's groups available for counseling and support for women. But what about support for young men? Is anybody thinking about
Well-
having a Big Brothers Club or a men's league? Something along those lines. So we start training our young men and not just focus on rehabilitation, but addressing the issue even before it gets to that stage.
Well, you have to start at an early age.
Yeah,
And it's all about prevention. This is
absolutely.
what you have to do. But I know that there is an organization here that focus on men and provide counseling, and so I'm not too sure how widespread they are, but I've heard about it. I think Tyrone Buckmeyer
Mhm.
is involved with that organization for men in particular, where they work with men. But I quite agree that it's not a woman thing, but it's
Yeah.
a national issue
Yes,
that
it
must
is.
be addressed.
And I also think that the women within the new national party are in a very good position in terms of to lead the charge. For example, look, in politics, for the very first time in the history of this country, so many female parliamentarians representing our country, right, within leadership. So from a party standpoint, I think we are in a very good place to have our women leading much more, right, of what is going on, development and so within our country. I think we have to be complimented.
Yes.
As a
Well, I
party.
must say that when we had a big event in November, most of the the female parliamentarians, they are very much aware as to what is happening, and they do give support to all of the constituents. And I quite agree, because without their support, I don't think we can move the process forward. So I think it is complimentary that they are involved, and we just have to grow from strength to strength.
Yes.
And as president of the movement, I will continue to give my full support to make sure that we deal with the issues affecting our nation.
Absolutely. Well, I'm very happy to hear about the day of prayer. I think it's the hour of prayer. I think it's an important aspect in the lives of us as Grenadians, especially in this time where we're battling with fears for the coronavirus and battling with a lot of other things. And as it says in Matthew 18:20, for where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there I am in the midst of them. And I think if we all come together at that time, it's at 1 o'clock, and we all pray in unison for whatever it may be,
Yes.
you know?
And as an individual, you can be by yourself
Yeah.
and do it also.
Yeah.
So we just take a time out. This is if you have your lunch at 11, take the time out at 1, and you spend the time, an hour, half an hour, because, we spend the time doing all sorts of things.
All sorts of things.
So what's wrong with doing an hour for just to give thanks and praise
Yeah.
to the Almighty?
And I mean, it's not us saying that at 1 o'clock everybody needs to down their tools and pray.
No.
I mean,
do
you
it
can
all
be
day.
sitting at your
Anytime.
desk.
Yeah.
You just
You can be having
bow
your
in
lunch and you're
reverence.
praying at the same
Yeah.
time, So I think,
Yeah.
we felt that it is the beginning of things to come, and we will continuously do some of these activities for the nation and for ourselves and for our children and grandchildren and
Of
our
course.
children that are not born yet.
Of course. Well, Mrs. Hood, it's always a pleasure having you guys here. I hope to see more representation from our women's
Well,
coming forward and speaking on all of the
Issues.
wonderful things that you guys plan to do and that you are doing for our nation's women.
thank you, and I look forward to you inviting me back, but I will be calling on you anyway. Because, let me just say, in terms of the activities, quite a few of the ministers, the female ministers, they have responsibilities for certain sectors like agriculture, like different things. So we can bring them in because we are working on some projects and bring them in. So we'll be here very often to bring you up to date in terms of what we're doing. So once again, I want to encourage everyone to get involved in the hour of prayer tomorrow at 1 p.m. and also the candlelight vigil, because this is for all of us. It has nothing to do with the political party.
Nope.
It has to do with our development. It has to do with the peace and tranquility and love for each other in our nation.
Of course. Well, thank you so much
Thank you
for
for having
joining
me.
us. Absolutely. Now, we're going to take a quick break, guys. But remember, coming up next, we have the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Francis Martin, and the Communications Officer in the Ministry of Health, Mr. Kevin Frederick, who will be here keeping us up to date, telling us what's going on and what we have planned, and how prepared the country is for the onset of the coronavirus. So please stay tuned. Call your neighbors, call your friends. Tell them we are about to have good conversation. You'll get an opportunity to call and ask your questions. It's things that you should know. So we urge you to listen and be responsible and encourage someone else to listen as well.
So we need to get the facts straight. How does this virus work? How does it transmit? Where does it want to go? And let's protect ourselves. I'm Dr. Peter Lynn. I'm a family physician in Toronto, Canada. The coronavirus is a family of viruses that can cause as mild things as just a common cold, all the way up to SARS or MERS. These are these bad pneumonias that we're talking about. And basically what these viruses are, they look like a tennis ball with all these spikes sticking out of it. And depending on the type of spike, it allows that virus to attach to certain places. So some viruses, they have the spike that attaches to your nose. So basically you just get a common cold. But the SARS virus and this new virus that we're talking about has the spike that allows it to attach to the cells in your lung. And when it attaches there, it puts in information to make photocopies of itself. So it uses our equipment to make more viruses.
I'm declaring a public health emergency of international concern over the global outbreak of novel coronavirus.
Most of the coronaviruses live in animals. In this particular case, it was from Wuhan. There was a fish market where they were selling live animals. And the thought is that the virus was in a live animal, then it crossed into a human. But then what we found was that people were getting sick in terms of healthcare workers, in terms of family members that were looking after them, which now meant that the virus can pass from human to another human. Just like all viruses, it needs to reach a target, which is your lung. And it has to get there with your help. It has no feet and no wings. So therefore it needs us to move it there. So that's why we keep saying, don't hang around sneezy people because you're going to breathe it in. And don't touch your face because that's how the virus is going to get in. The masks are helpful, but they're not necessary because they're leaky. The ones that you and I buy basically have pockets here, so therefore the virus can get in. What the masks really do is they stop us from touching our face. If you're sick, we tend to mask you, so therefore you're not spewing out the viruses to other people sitting around you. The true people that have the real masks are the N95. Those are sealed. These are for the doctors that may be caring for the patients. So in the beginning, the coronavirus will cause kind of like flu-like symptoms or a cold. So people just get the stuffy nose, that kind of thing. But you'll understand that as soon as that virus starts manufacturing in your lung cells, they're producing all these copies of the virus, all of a sudden now you kill the lung cells. So now you can't exchange oxygen. And that's why one of the early symptoms is people get very short of breath and they tend to have a difficult time breathing, and that's why they end up in hospital. So currently, unfortunately, we don't have a direct treatment for the coronavirus. So we don't have a medication that can kill it off. And so it's really supportive. So in other words, the patient can't breathe, we give them oxygen, help them to breathe. They can't drink, so therefore we give them fluids to support them. Their kidneys begin to shut down, we help them with all those things. So it's a very supportive process. This is a new virus that we've never seen before. So our immune system, our army, are having a hard time figuring out what to do. So usually what we have to do is we make something called antibodies. So these are things that can grab onto the spikes that we see on the virus, and it will get rid of the virus for you, and that will actually bring you back to good health. So therefore the elderly may have a worse outcome, and of course the young children. So the babies, their immune system is not so good either, so they may not make those antibodies as well. So just remember, your hands may be with virus. Virus cannot hurt you because it can't get through the skin, but the moment I do this, now I've brought the virus right to where it wants to go. So let's remember not to touch our hands to our face. So let's say you think that you might have been on a plane or you might have bumped into somebody that has it. What should you do? So the first thing is to contact a healthcare worker to tell them that potentially you have it. If you're feeling symptoms and you're going to go into a facility, call ahead. Okay, so whether you're calling the paramedics or whether you're calling the hospital or your doctor, just mention that you were on a flight. If you don't have any symptoms, then what we do is a little bit of a self-quarantine. In other words, we can just keep you away from other people, and so you don't go into parties, don't go with your friends, don't go into public transportation. So we can contain it very easily by making sure that you do a self-confinement, so to speak. For the, let's say, 7 to 14 days is the longest incubation time. So after that, if you're feeling well, then you don't have anything to worry about. If we get the facts right, then we don't have to be overly worried, but we do the right things so that we don't get the virus ourselves and that we don't pass it on to others. And if we look after each other in this way, this virus will have nowhere to go. It needs us to move it, it needs us to make copies for it, and if we don't help it, then the virus will stop. So we have the power to do that right now.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
Thanks to NAWASA, we don't have that problem anymore.
Yes, it's a very nice project. We used to go and collect water in the river and pipe stands by the side of the road. But now it's different. Everybody have a little water home. It will make a good difference because it's up on the top of a hill and then we're getting everything that we want down the road.
Internally generated funds from a new tariff reform make more of these possible.
All right, guys, and we are back. We are expecting our guests to call in. Apparently, they're stuck in a meeting, which is expected given the concern, the level of concern, of course, that is happening right now. There is something, though, that I do want to talk about while we await their call. Now, I think it's important, Devon, for us to understand that in the midst of crisis, I mean, crisis has no color, crisis has no political affiliation, crisis has no race, you know? So we have to be careful that when crisis comes, what we associate it with, you know? What is our motive? Are we trying to educate? Are we trying to help? Or are we really just trying to create fear and panic or get a little bit of, you know, political gain out of something? We have to be careful. But we do have a caller on the line. Let's take this call real quick. Good morning, caller.
Hello, good morning. And how are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. We're not getting on City Sound.
Yes, City Sound is apparently having some internet issues, yes.
Oh, okay then. So
yeah, so log in on 89.5.
Yep.
And you'll get us there.
Turn one time.
Okay,
Thanks
great.
so much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye. Yes.
You know, and the reason I bring this up is because from day one, from the very beginning, when we began talking about the coronavirus and all of this, the message has always been the same. But apparently in Grenada, because you represent, and I'm speaking for me personally, because you represent a political party, because you, in most cases, speak on behalf of, people tend to take what you say as politically motivated.
Yeah.
They take away the fact that you can be objective. They take away the fact that the information that you are giving them is factual, that the information that you are giving them is beneficial, and all they put on it is that political spin. You know, the message from day one has always been the same. Preparation. Prepare, prepare, prepare. Because this coronavirus, I mean, I hate to say it, but it's an eventuality. The question now is not where it's going to come from. The question now is when.
When would it arrive?
When. And I mean, it's a scary thought, but it is something that people need to start getting accustomed to.
You know, I look at it in terms of preparedness. Okay, I've been part of NAGMA, and one of the hallmark, one of the things that is always stressed upon in NAGMA is to be prepared.
Of course.
And this is no different. This is no different, right, from the coronavirus or anything. It's a disaster, right?
Yeah.
It's something that is out there, right? Like an hurricane, you get the forecast, and you expect, based on the direction, the course, right, it may come to Grenada. So what you do as a people, you prepare. Okay, in the case of the whole question of the coronavirus, and so there are steps that, as family members, as individuals, that you can take to ensure, right, that you don't fall into, into that risky moment. You keep your hand, always wash your hands. That is things that we've been taught from a young age coming up, right? You wash your hands always, right? Avoid touching your face or playing with your eye. All these things, you have to be prepared. And the Ministry of Health, right, this program has been in the forefront ensuring that the information is put out there, and as a people we understand.
Yeah. And something that I want to touch on, people, please do not go to our pharmacies buying masks. The mask does not prevent you from getting the virus.
No, it doesn't.
The mask is only to be worn by the person's suspected off.
Yes.
So that in the event that they cough or they sneeze, whatever it is, whatever fluids is contained within that mask, when you go out there and you buy all the masks in the pharmacy and so on, you're really not doing justice to anything.
No.
Because you still have to take your same hands and remove the mask that you probably shook somebody else's hand with or touched some surface. So don't go out there buying masks. Go to the stores and buy hand sanitizers if you have to.
Yes.
Go to the stores and buy your Lysol and your Dettol and all of these surface cleaners, And I want to appeal to the store owners as well. Maybe now is the time for you to start bringing out all your hand sanitizers and Lysol and so on. Put it in front, showcase it. Let people remember.
Publicize it.
That, I need to get a hand sanitizer. I need to get an antibacterial soap. Jog their memories. And probably you can also consider decreasing on the price because you are expecting an increase in purchase. And it will also help the people who may have a little difficulty in purchasing one that
Of
costs,
course.
$7 or $8 or whatever it is.
You may bring it down to $5, $3.
Exactly.
Reach out to your fellow countrymen and so and other thing you see, and one of the things that the Ministry of Health has been telling us, and not just because of the coronavirus, is watch our eating habits, right? Ensure that we remain healthy as much as possible. Now, in the case of the coronavirus, it basically would attack the persons, or it will be much more, the persons who are not, who resistance are low, and that sort of thing, or elderly, or young children.
Of course.
We
Let's take this call, Devon. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Miss Duncan.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Brother Devon.
Good morning to you, my friend.
How's everything, man?
Well, I'm good.
Yeah. Mr. Devon, you're saying something about disaster preparedness. We involved in NAGMA, and one thing that we always say to people, right? Preparedness, prepare only, save life.
Exactly.
And we have to save life. And once you prepare for anything, the life will be safe. But when you don't prepare, it's a chaos. It's a chaos. I can add. Disaster can meet a disaster. So I want to say to the Grenada people, prepare. For what anything will happen. So we have to have it prepared for anything. We prepare for hurricane. We can't prepare for earthquake because we don't know when earthquake will come. But hurricane, we know when they say it's coming, it's going to come. Yes, the magnitude might not be as great as we expected, but already prepared. Once we prepare for it and come, a much life will be safe. I want to congratulate the NMP Women Group for taking the initiative of our prayer, because prayer is key in anything. Because in prayer there is no boundary. There is no boundary in prayer. I also want to say to all involve men, because when we look at some men, violence against women, the majority of men committing. I want to say to the men, you have a mother. And each and every one of us born from a father and a mother. We have to love our wife. Our wife is not slave. Our wife is not one that we can love about. So, Devon, have a wonderful.
Okay, my friend.
Okay. Something that I wanted to touch on before the caller called, Devon. Eating healthy and so on, very important. The Ministry of Health, the CMO, Chief Medical Officer, has said time and time again, eat your fruits, eat your vegetables, build your immune system. But I also want to say it is important, and I'll tell you why I'm saying this, to ensure that you are not stressed. Stress can lower and weaken your immune system.
Yes, very much so.
And I tell you this because I have been fruits and vegetables, eating healthy, all of that. But you hear me this morning? Well, not even this morning, from Friday,
Saturday,
I found myself losing my voice because there's this cold going around, strange cold going around and taking voices and stuffiness. And it's not because I haven't been doing the right thing, but I'll tell you this, I have been extremely stressed, and sometimes you feel like, okay, I'm taking my vitamins and I'm taking my supplements and I'm eating right, so I should be okay. But sleep is important.
Very much so.
Sleep is important.
Mentally, you have to be prepared.
So me staying up late for doing assignments for school, and dealing with my kids, and then me being stressed about the whole situation of the coronavirus and the spread of propaganda and people
it's
not
a lot to deal with,
listening and taking heed and worrying about what's going to happen as a result of that. It does take a toll on you.
Yes, it does.
It does. And it's me saying to people that when we don't do what we're supposed to do, when we go out there and we willfully spread propaganda and we get people worried and we get people stressed, it's just as bad as them not eating what they're supposed to eat or taking their vitamins, because it does weaken their immune system.
And even to those who continue to spread false information and to be happy, in my view, about what is going on out there, and even well, I can't say wishing, but wanting to see something like that happening in Grenada. You yourself, right, is opening your whole, thing to catch that when it comes to because you're so adamant to, yes, and angry. You understand, to make a point and to stick it to the government, because of this. And so we have to stop that as a people, right? We have to do what is necessary.
We have a caller,
yes.
Yeah. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Ms. Duncan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, I am doing fine.
Okay.
Sorry I couldn't come in this morning because I'm on the road. I'm heading to another location to do some of our community engagements and so on, and take care of what is going on down at the airport and so on.
Okay.
So let me say though that for the record, it's Kevin Frederick from the Ministry of Health. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as it relates to the rumor mongering that continues, I sincerely hope that the people who are engaging in such deceitful acts would, sit and ask themselves what benefit it has. How is it making things better for them and for us?
Mm-hmm.
Because the truth is, they're just making a fool of themselves. Yeah. And, eventually, people will realize that, listen, the ones who are engaging in such mischief, their credibility will be nothing but questionable.
Yeah.
And so, it is again a big lie that another plane, of Chinese, so came in last night. That is totally false. Absolutely false. Now, and I do not know, I believe sincerely, that the people who are feeding the rumor mongers with that information is doing it to embarrass them, because they realize, okay, if you all are so gullible and foolish, I will keep making you all look foolish. So instead of taking the information from the right source, this is what they are engaging in. So what I can tell you, is that the information regarding this plane, again, when we hours or whatever hours, that is totally false. We were at the airport. In fact, I left the airport last night after the airport had closed. Me and other members of staff. So, it's just nonsense. Yesterday, however, we had, a successful desktop exercise. It's a simulation exercise where all of the key stakeholders and main players, not all of the key stakeholders, sorry, but some of the key stakeholders and all of the main managers. So like you have like role players like casualty, intensive care, from transport, to ambulance, to labs. We looked at all of those things in them, including that for Carriacou and PT Martinique. And it was to really see what happens if there are any like loopholes or things that need clarifying, and the simulation exercise really give us a better sense as to where we at and what needs to be done. So I can tell you, not much is needed at this time, and thankfully it's because a lot of the persons involved, they have had the experience dealing and responding and managing to previous, incidences, like, for example, dengue outbreak and chickpea and Zika and cholera and Ebola and H1N1. So it's not people who are green per se,
Right.
It's seasoned people, and that's our livelihood. We practice, like year round. So, and Prime Minister and Minister of National Security. Dr. Mitchell, he paid us a surprise visit, He understands, what is happening and, thank each and every one, for, the role, they are playing. And that those present as well as those who are not present because, while we working, in one part of the island, there are others working elsewhere. So, and I could tell you too, it's the first time, and I'm saying this loudly, and if anyone want to challenge this, bring your facts because I could bring mine. Yeah, it's the first time I have witnessed such a thing. It's the first time I have seen, any, government or so within the shortest period of time commit financial resources up to $1 million. The government has allocated $1 million in the first instance to the Ministry of Health to, get things going, for its coronavirus response. Now, I'm telling you this because I have walked through a number of governments, right? Both NMP governments and NDC governments. I was in the same position then as I am in now. And I always say, if it's one thing, one person I really do admire, is that, and I have the greatest respect for the former health minister under the previous NDC administration, Miss Ann Peters, because I saw how she led. I knew of the challenges, but she was there. And I have seen the very same thing happen under Dr. Clarice Modest Cohen. I have seen the very same thing happen under our current health minister. And I want to actually salute our current health minister. He is a leader. Many people may not know that, but I've sat in on the COSAD meetings and so on. And a lot of advice, they would ask Minister Steele, to give them the advice. What do they think should happen and so forth. I have also worked with Dr. Mitchell, that's George Mitchell, and he's part of our response. Yes, and it's the first time too I've ever seen, a prime minister, right, come out on a Sunday and so forth to give the support that is needed to healthcare providers leading a national response for a national public health threat. And I could say that unequivocally speaking, this is the very first time I have seen that. And I can tell you too that the participants yesterday left there in high spirits because, when we get that kind of leadership, it motivates you. Our minister was attending an emergency meeting yesterday in Barbados. So he was not there physically with us, but he was there, via WhatsApp because we kept him abreast, all the step of the way. So, we are doing what we can and what needs to be done. And so I would just like to, encourage people to, remember that it is your responsibility. It is not the ministry's responsibility. It is your responsibility to practice proper hygiene. The ministry cannot hold your hands and wash it.
Yeah.
We cannot come out there and give you soap and water or tissue. We cannot tell you, come and raise the crook of your elbow for you to actually sneeze in it. No. Your health is your responsibility, and of course it is our priority. But it begins and ends with you.
Kevin, before you continue, I want us to spend just a little moment on this because, and I'm going to read to you a post, and I think it's time that we start calling some names. So I'm reading a post on Facebook from an individual. Let me just go back to the post real quick here. An individual by the name of Keisha Simon. And that post reads, let me just see here, an hour ago. So it has been confirmed that people came in yesterday. Flight originated from China. If it was not for the diligent staff member, they would have not been screened. So, Grenada, you are not taking this seriously. Now, you would have also mentioned that there was a simulation exercise that happened yesterday. Could it have been a mistake in what was happening, that they would have mistaken the simulation exercise to be, because she is saying that it's confirmed by a member of staff on the airport that there was a plane coming in from China.
Well, no, Ms. Duncan, there is nothing about mistake here. That's what I'm saying, yeah? That the people who are saying that, they are being willfully misled. And I could tell you this, yeah? The airport denied landing permission or rights to a flight.
Right.
So that's what I'm telling you. These people are so foolish, yeah? And I'm saying that they are downright foolish, yeah? To be taking this, check your information. Not because somebody works on the airport, it doesn't mean that they have the facts. Because listen to me, yeah? A lot of the decisions are made at top, not middle management, top management level. So they would not know that, yeah? No, and I'm laughing here, you know, because it tells me that my analysis of what is going on is correct. These people are being willfully misled. That's why I can tell you, yeah, no plane came in. Yeah? And I could tell you that, you know, the duty manager, she consulted, right? Yeah. And as a matter of fact, that was before because you cannot just come in like that, right? You must get advance permission. And no such thing was granted. So again, the person who said that is an idiot. Yeah? No, I mean, quite frankly, listen, it's about time we start calling it what it is. To be going out there and saying those things and making up stories and thinking that because your child come home and tell you, you know, the teacher beat me this morning, you know, and he come home and tell you that you just go in school with a gun and shoot the teacher. You are idiot. You know, yeah. Because, you know, when people bring home things like your child bring home something from school, don't you question him? The reason why you will question that child is to make sure that, one, he or she didn't steal it.
Yeah.
You know, two, that, you know, it was properly given to them and by whom. Because sometimes that, if it is a male or female, they could be coaching that child for whatever reason. So you have a duty and a responsibility, you know, to investigate. So not because somebody tells you something, you know, you run guns. As a matter of fact, I remember a good friend of mine said, boy, you all don't have nothing on the airport scanning. I said, okay, cool. And so one day, and he walks down on the airport. So I was sitting in the control room, and I saw him coming. So I quickly took off my phone, and I took a picture of him coming with his temperature. And I sent it for him, right? He lives in Guelph, and I sent it for him. And if you don't believe me, ask him. His name is Doggy, Alvin Douglas. They call him Doggy. He used to work in the post office. He rides a scooter. Ask him. And I sent it for him. Yeah. And he said, boss, where did you get that from? Because he didn't see me nowhere wrong. I said, that is proof. He said, well, you know what? Nah, boy. All they had things really set up inside it. I did that with another guy, a red cap. His name is Alison Philip from Guelph again. They call him Didi. Ask them. And I'm calling names because it is, you see, I could call names because it is the truth. I could tell you that the duty manager acted that way because it is the truth. But the ones who are circulating those rumors cannot tell you who said that because you know why? It is false. And that is how you distinct. You basically come and say how the information is clear. Right. I have nothing to hide. I am not lying. I cannot be challenged on it because it is the fact. Yeah? And I was there. But so I could call names. Challenge them to call name, and
Absolutely.
I bet you they will start ducking.
Yes, and also, Kevin, I just want to make mention that it is very easy to verify any flight that comes from anywhere, you know, and I think people need to start verifying first, because hearsay is not verification. Even if I work at the airport and I say that there is a plane that came in, you must show me the facts to back that up, because your word cannot be taken as facts.
You know, and as a matter of fact, even if a plane is registered in China, it does not mean a lot of the U.S. planes are not registered in the U.S., you know. As a matter of fact, okay, JetBlue comes in. JetBlue is not registered in Grenada, you know. A lot of fishing boats and so on, they are registered in St. Vincent and so on, but they are Grenadian-owned vessels.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. It is idiotic at, at best for someone to just go on hearsay like that, especially in times of crisis. What are you getting from it? Same. I don't think this thing turns people on. It turns me off.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So I do not know what is the, you know. I mean, I remember Mr. Leslie Pierce said once, some people get an orgasm out of stupidity, and I think I am really living to actually see that, because back then I didn't really, no, for real. He said so, and this thing still remains with me, because I have always tried, analyzing what he meant, and this is why I can actually quote him. He said, some people get an orgasm out of stupidity. And I am living to see that.
Yeah.
And I know some people might be out there annoyed because of what I am saying and how I am saying it. But let me tell you this. Yep. I am as frank can be. Yes? And I have nothing to hide, because there's nothing here to hide. The truth will always be out. So we're not into the habit of covering up and hiding things. That is nonsense.
Yeah.
We picked up a person last night, and she was calm. So say those things. Say that, look, we are there working. Let me tell you something, Ms. Duncan. To date, we have quarantined a total of 17 people. That is what they are not talking about, because you know why? It makes the ministry look good. It makes our team look good. It makes the leadership of the ministry look good. Yeah. So, do not spread no positive. Spread only falsehoods and negative. That is their whole mantra. As risk communication experts, we don't believe in that. We spread the facts, the truth. The truth is, we have quarantined a total of 17 people. Number 17 was last night.
Right.
Yeah? When I left the quarantine center, it was 11:47 p.m. And up until then, no plane still didn't land.
It's very sad.
I mean, it's past sad now. But we need... Listen to me. People not only supposed to call out politicians. Call out the idiots who are out there too. Name them and shame them. Yeah? No, call them out. Because I remember after your challenge won, he pulled down his post. There was another female journalist who pulled down her post. Because you know why? Yeah. When we name them and shame them, they don't want nobody going back on their page and see what they had posted. So you know what? They quickly
pull it down.
They're behaving as how them Japanese fight war in movies, They hide, so they kind of hide and seek thing, Yeah. They hide, and when they see you, they attack and run back and hide. We're not in that. Yeah? We're not in that. We are not here to hide. Dr. Martin, Dr. Charles, our minister, every single one of them, CMO, Ram, Hazard, Bernard, all of those nurses on the airport, Miss Tanis, Miss Faray, I can't remember all of the others' names, but a lot of them, even the officers, in baggage and customs playing a major role.
Yeah.
Immigration playing a major role. And those guys work 24/7. Come out there, go on social media, thank them, praise them, encourage them, Do not go spreading falsehoods, because you know why? You are demoralizing those guys. Not just the ministry, This is I mean, a multifaceted response.
Yeah.
So whatever you say, when you say that, it means that immigration follow up, airport authority follow up, customs follow up. That is what you're telling people, and that's a lie.
Yeah.
I mean, I am emotional about it because in 2020, I think that a lot of us should be more mature.
I agree.
I mean, but this kind of little children ABC kind of foolishness, I mean, this thing doesn't mix. I mean, listen to me. I have engaged some children in Guava on coronavirus, and I could tell you, a lot of them are willing to learn, and they are more positive than a lot of those big, fully grown individuals out there who are peddling misinformation. And it is, I mean, downright stupidness. There's no need for that. I know it happens everywhere else, yeah? But I can tell you this, yeah? There are other parts of the world and other cultures and villages and communities who are taking it much more serious. But some people, because they want fame on social media, go out there and post that crap. I even read something from you and Nazim that some journalists, I don't know who it is, that, publishing things. We've been publishing that since, as a matter of fact, Nazim said since January, we've been publishing since December.
We have.
But I mean,
I'll tell
we have
you
not
this.
stopped.
I'll tell you
Look.
this, Kevin. I have just made arrangements for our department to print thousands of posters that I myself will personally be walking through the tongue of St. George, handing out to business places, handing out to individuals. And I'll tell you, because, you see, for me, this goes beyond politics.
Thank you.
This is about country. This is about people. I have children.
Exactly.
And I want to make sure that if I am doing the right thing, that everybody else is doing it too. Because I may not get the virus, but somebody out there might have it, and they might get it from them.
I'll tell you something, I was riding with Dr. Martin last week, Thursday, I think it was, or last week, Friday. And a lady called, and she wants to get on board to help. We went and did a presentation with the Sustainable Development stakeholders. They are on board. I shared a lot of the information there via social media, and they started pushing it out.
Yeah.
We had quarantined a certain individual. I would not call it his name. Yeah, he is doing fine, and you know what? He volunteered. He said, "Listen," he said, "what you guys are doing, excellent work." And listen, he appreciated so much that he now said, as soon as he is out, which is going to be on Saturday, I think is his last day. As soon as he is out, he wants to join our campaign because he realized that we are doing it good. We just need more hands on deck. And I wish those who are peddling false information will get on board in a positive sense. We have people who are quarantined who want to help. I admitted it. I met a Rasta guy who I placed in quarantine a couple of Fridays ago. And he remembered my name, and he shook my hand. And, I said, how come you still remember my name? He said, what? He said, I would never forget people who treat me fairly and treat me good. And Dr. Martin was right. He said, boss, you're very professional, and thank you very much. It's a student who came back from China, and he is in quarantine. We check up on them. So, not because we don't come out there and say because we're not supposed to come out and tell you every single detail of what we're doing. Yeah? But you need to have some degree of common sense, no matter how small it is. We know it is not common. But still, I mean, have a little bit of common sense and think for your own self. And don't let people, push you down. Because not because somebody tells you to jump, you just go and jump. Do an assessment.
Mr. Frederick, within the last 24 to 36 hours, is the Ministry of Health have any new information that you as the spokesperson would like to share to the general public, and so as to continue to be prepared, right, for what is going on? Anything?
Yes, sir. The information is the very same thing. The trusted sources are the named sources, yeah? If you go on, for example, for PAHO site, you will see flag, right? PAHO member state, CAFA member state. As a matter of fact, when CAFA said that they were lifting, we had already lifted it, and we were just awaiting clearance because Dr. Martin is part, likewise, our minister. They are the ones who will sit and make those decisions based on the assessment. So, we addressed that we were elevating our public health threat level alert code. And we saw the CAFA situation report number 15, and we were already on importation transmission watch. Remember, we had said so the day or two before that we were on importation transmission watch, meaning that somebody, so the virus will come in from a foreign country, and then it will be transmitted locally. So we are watching that. So we have heightened our screening, and coincidentally, maybe, because we are so much on the current path, CAFA report number 15 said that the risk now for the Caribbean was moderate to high, and we were already listed to high.
Right.
As a matter of fact, again, we're not supposed to be saying those things, but, if people, listen to me, it will just make the ministry, and by extension, the minister and government, look very good. So I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Now, to all those who are clamoring out there, right? Here is something that I want you to clamor about. Government, upon allocating the $1 million in the first instance for the COVID-19 response, here are some facts. Of that total, a number of additional handheld thermometers, PPEs, masks, and so on are being procured as we speak. Of that total, a PCR testing machine, right, is being sourced for Grenada. Grenada will have the capability of testing for coronavirus and other viruses in the not too distant future. Now, that machine, right, if everything goes according to plan, should be here, if not by Friday, by the next Friday.
Wow.
Yeah? Breaking news again. Yeah? And Senator Gill, Ali Gill always said breaking news again. Yeah? We have looked at a stretcher isolation capsule. Yeah? A standalone one. For Grenada. Ms. Duncan, I will send you the photograph so you could actually blast it wherever.
Yes.
That is breaking news. Yeah? Breaking news again. Alright? Yeah. Now, we have started, and I posted that sometime last week. The isolation unit will consist of 2 beds at the General Hospital. Yeah? There is also plan of getting additional ventilator for support. That is breaking news. Spread those news. Mm-hmm. Let me see who are courageous enough to spread those. Go back on those rumor mongers page, and because they are listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see and challenge them to spread those news. They would not spread it. So if you want to know, yes, those things are happening. Yeah. So whereas Barbados got the assistance from PAHO, and we understand that because PAHO regional headquarters is in Barbados. Right? Yeah. So Jamaica has testing capabilities, CAFA, but we said, okay, a number of the other islands who do not have will be sending down to CAFA. Right? It may take you days to get back your results. We said that. We appreciate what CAFA is doing. But blessed is the child that have his own.
Oh, yes, sure it is.
So we put our money where our mouth is.
Yeah.
Yeah? And we decided to buy that. And Minister was clear, and he said, no. Yeah. He said, yeah. Our first thing will be to buy the PCR testing machine. The minister gave that. He went and he lobbied for the money. Yeah. He convinced his cabinet members. Prime Minister and Minister of Finance saw the wisdom in it. Yeah. The monies was released. Yeah. And so the $1 million EC in the first instance will go towards those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Kevel,
hold on, I'm wrapping up. They always say that the noise in the market is not the sales. And we believe in that. That's why we don't make a lot of noise, you know. Let our actions speak, because here what will happen. The media will be called in to see the unveiling of the machine. Yeah? PAHO and CAFA has agreed to provide testing kits likewise and training for the people who will be utilizing those equipment. So break those news.
Kevin, I want to tell you that, and I'm going to read it because I think it's time. I know you're emotional about the situation simply because you are putting in the work. You see, you have a first-hand view of what's happening, how prepared we are. And for it to be taken for granted, it could make anybody emotional. But I want to because it's time for us to start calling names. We sit here and we talk a lot about this person said or that person made a live, and I'm going to call the name. The person in question here is a young lady by the name of Nokisha Samuel. Apparently she works at the airport, and she wrote, and I quoted here, so we are going to shut down our ports of entry. So are we going to shut down our ports of entry now that the virus is within the Caribbean region? I understand that some people came in last night, their origin China, and they walked out of the airport without being screened. And when they realized what was happening, they were called back to be checked. This information came straight from inside the airport. This is not time for us. Her name is Nokisha Samuel.
Good. Screenshot it and send it for me because I'm going down to the airport. So I will ask Miss McQuilkin here, you know, and others to call in your program here, and let us call Miss Samuel. Yeah, let she reveal where she got her false information from.
Okay.
Yes.
Because it's time.
Listen. If that's the road we have to go, we are prepared to actually do it. We are. Yeah. No, I'm telling you, because let me tell you something. Yeah. No. Because yes, you know, now yes, we are putting our lives on the front line. Yeah. Now, and I still want to be sympathetic to that individual, because I could tell you what could have happened. Now, yeah, we check all airlines, and mind you, I'm not saying that a plane came in with Chinese or landed whatever time, and that's not the case. It's reacting them, right? Now listen what could happen. Because I did that here. Yeah. Now, we picked up a Grenadian who was studying in China. The truth is, yeah, he had already finished his study. Yeah. But because he was on our list, now apparently the Ministry of Education didn't know or didn't send to validate whether or not he had completed. And because when you complete, you're supposed to report. So a number of students, and I'm going to say this, a number of students are coming in and they're not reporting to the Ministry of Education. I understand, because they do not want to be bonded. That's what I understand. I do not know if that's a fact. However, some of them are coming in. So I know people who are supposed to be graduating in March. But once they finish their studies and could get their certificate, they come back. When they come back, they don't report to the Ministry of Education. So the bonding issue, you may still think, well, that person is outside there, whereas the person is back here. Because from our probing, we gather such information. So when Bernard and I boarded the flight, yes, what happened is that when we brought him in the back and we checked, yes, what happened is that we let him go afterwards. I just simply went, I apologized, you know, and so forth. And the young man is known. I could even give you his number for you to actually call him and find out that is not an issue. Yeah. Now, that same day too, we picked up a Japanese national. Yeah. However, he was in the States for 28 days, no symptoms.
Right.
He was in Ecuador, right, for 5 days, and he spent about 2 days in Trinidad and Tobago. No, he has no symptoms. He has been out of Japan, you know, for X amount of days. There's no reason to hold him. What we did, I escorted him outside.
Right.
So, I'm not saying that is what happened last night, because I do not recall that happening at all.
Right.
Yeah? But, if is that what happened, still that person is seriously misinformed.
Right.
And I could challenge that person right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, right up on that person's thing, my name is Kevin Frederick. I work at the airport last night. I was there last night. I pick up a traveler who lives in St. George's, yeah, who came out from a particular country. Yeah, it was a female. And I transported that person last night, myself and another worker, yeah, and tell that person, right up on, likewise on it here, that Bernard was at the airport last night, Nosfare was at the airport last night, and that we are all willing to challenge her. As much as she walks down on the airport, yeah, we are willing to challenge her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I could tell you, yeah, the persons who would have come through that way, you see, a lot of the screenings take place, if you want to say behind the scenes, so people will not know. Yeah. Now, there are names, and I'm saying this again, we still trying and clean up a lot of the names because people would have came back, and never reported. So we're working with information. Information changes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I could put my neck on a block right here right now and say this, yeah? That no system is foolproof. No system is 100%. Yeah. No system at all, yeah, is so much. Yeah, no system is foolproof. No system, is going to work perfectly the first time. Yeah, but I guarantee you that the men and women on the front line are doing everything that they can to protect the health interests of our nation, and I salute them. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
We go home sometimes after, based on where we live, after we transfer and do everything, after 1 thing in the morning, and still get back up to reach to work the following day. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Those who don't know, really don't. Yes? So, I am not worried about that. As I said, there will be slip-ups here and there. There will be. Even in the great United States right now, they are yet to declare, right, a public health emergency, and you have that.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of transmission. So, it's about time, that people stop the rumor mongering. That is what I want to end with. Stop the rumor mongering, And I will continue to be passionate about it. And call me whatever you want. I don't care. I really don't care. Mm-hmm. And who know me well. These things and them don't bother me. So you can say who wants to sit down in a corner and say whatever they want about me. That's fine. I will do my work. I will do it as best as I can. And I know that I could actually say as well, I never had a problem working with the previous administration. I never did. And I am still working here because regardless to which, government is there, I'm a Grenadian. Yeah. I have my choice in terms of whom I am going to support. It is well known. I am not hiding from it. Yeah, and it is going to be that way. So you could jump high, jump low. That is not going to change. Hate me, it doesn't matter. Like me, it still doesn't matter. But as Fidel Castro said, history will absolve me.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Kevin. You have given us so much information here this morning. And I'm hoping that the people who are listening, and Kevin, you have all right to be upset. People are looking, I have a commenter here who is saying that this is unprofessional. But you guys have been taking bashing for weeks. They have called you guys all sorts of names. They have said all sorts of ill things about you guys. And I think that at some point people need to understand that you guys are people too. You guys are human beings as well. And it's emotional for you guys because you are the ones on the front line. 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning.
And sometimes
doing
taking
the work
insults,
and
sometimes taking insults.
Yes.
And physical attacks.
Yes, and they're talking about freedom of speech. Yes, you have the right to speak, but you have a responsibility to ensure that the information that you provide is factual, because you cannot go around spreading lies and on top of that saying, oh, well, it's my right to speak. It really is a sad situation, but thank you. I want to say on behalf of everybody here at the studio and at the New National Party, you guys are doing a wonderful job, a commendable job. And it's time for us to stop keeping things hidden. Start calling names. Somebody has a name. This person said, and we must call names because they are hiding behind the fact that you might not want to say their name. But if it's a lie, it's a lie.
Let me just tell you something else. Yeah. And to the person who is talking about unprofessionalism, let me say this. It is by no means blowing off a trumpet. Yeah. But Grenada already has holding statements. Yeah. Which I have to share with the other members of the Regional Health Communications Network.
Right.
Dr. Sean Charles, after he did his assessment, the IHR sent him back an email. Praises to Grenada. Yes. That's our epidemiologist, senior medical officer, Dr. Sean Charles. The risk communication plan that was developed in Grenada. Yes, a lot of the other countries are using our model. I sat for days and nights writing it. Yeah? So when they want to talk about unprofessionalism, ask them what is the meaning of professionalism and unprofessionalism. Yeah. Ask them that, because let me tell you what, different people have different interpretations. Just as how, not because I went in big school and you go in small school, you cannot teach me nothing, That is that person's own opinion. I don't respect their opinion, but I accept their opinion because no one is going to force any nonsense down my throat. So he or she could sit wherever they want behind a computer and type whatever they want. It does not faze me. I will do my work and I will speak. I am speaking as a Grenadian, not just as a Ministry of Health official. Because you know why? When I go on the front line to protect this country, they're happy at their home. When others go on the front line to protect this country, they're all there sitting and drinking. I go back to my home. My parents don't even know if I am going to be back alive because you know why? I have to travel great distances to reach home. Sleepy. So they could talk from now until next week. Kevin Frederick is not moved. So you can say whatever you want. It does not faze me.
Yeah. One last question before you go. Apparently, and I'm not sure of this because I'm just reading from the comments, there are athletes in the Dominican Republic, and we have had 2 cases reported from there. So are there plans for their quarantine on their return?
Yes, what we normally do, so I think it's people playing football, right?
Yeah, footballers.
Yes.
I think it might be footballers, our female footballers.
Yeah.
Right. So now, what's going to happen is that this morning, Dr. Martin, you see, and that's what I'm saying, and I'm glad that person raised that because, you know what, Dr. Martin is the FIFA, I think is appointed or certified doctor in Grenada. So people would not know that, but when it's football and then Dr. Martin, and Dr. Martin is our CMO. So up to this morning, we were speaking about that. Now, a similar thing happened with some people who came back recently from one of the sporting organizations down here, right? And guess what? They were in contact with us. We met them at the airport. We did what we had to do. The same thing will apply. We will know beforehand when they are coming, and we are going to treat it as how we treated all of the others. If there is need for quarantine, we are going to quarantine them either at our facility or at their home. Because, mind you, the WHO recommends home quarantine.
Yeah.
So if we quarantine somebody at home, there is no wrong in that.
Right.
However, we have been putting people in quarantine at our facility. Yes? But it is, and I'll be frank and honest and tell you, we have also quarantined some responsible people who have the means, quarantining them at home. I met a government official on Saturday who was quarantined at home. Yeah?
Right.
I interacted with her. I explained to her what was going to happen. I took her luggage. I even make sure I paid the security parking lot for her, and everything. And then we quarantine her at home, because she understands what is going on. So we quarantine people at home. Yes, we do, because it is recommended.
Right.
Right? But of course, an assessment is done before it happens. So, I mean, like I said, we know what we are doing. We believe in what we are doing. We have been commended. The funny thing about it is that a lot of the other islands are commending our officials down here for what they are doing. But that's okay, because you know why? Judas was the one who betrayed Christ, so a king has no honor in his country.
You're so right. Well, take it easy, Kevin, because trust me, you don't need this kind of stress to go and get sick.
No, man, I'm not. Don't worry. I am not. I'm worried about that. That's small talk. This thing and them does bounce up. People call me worse than that, and I'm still standing because they're not. Their hands are not on the oxygen supply. So I'm grateful about that. Yeah, because you see, the only how they think they have a voice is to attack. I don't have time for that. Yeah. Yeah. So call me anytime. I will feel free to come in anytime.
Of course.
And again, I want to salute all of us, all of the workers, all of the stakeholders at the airports, at the seaport. Last week we had a meeting with Custom, and we learned a lot. Yeah, Ms. Forsyth and Mr. Belfon, and Baptiste and their team. We learned a lot, So those guys too, because you don't see them on radio and TV or see them, doing something, it doesn't mean that they're not working. Those guys are working. They're hunting down every vessel, every marine craft. They're at every place doing what they have to do. Thank those guys. Do not go out there and because you have a keyboard, and a password. It doesn't make you information guru, So stop this kind of nonsense, and then that is foolishness.
Absolutely. But thank you so much for the information, Kevin. Stay safe, please, because I know you're on the front line. I wouldn't want to hear anything happen to you. Stay safe and don't let them get you down. Just keep providing us with information so we can provide everyone else with information.
Sure, Ms. Duncan. Anytime.
All right. Thank you. Have a great
day.
All
right. Okay, you too.
Wow. That was a mouthful of information. Yes, serious information. And I cannot help to emphasize the importance of other people. We appreciate those who are in the front line fighting that war, because it is a war, right? Those persons are the customs and people in the Ministry of Health, the airport workers, the dock workers, and so they are the first line, right, of our defense. If they don't identify, right, and put things in place to ensure, right, that this country is secure, then it's hell break loose. So we have to appreciate them, and we have to stop spreading the false propaganda and so about what is going on. And I think it's about time that something is being done with persons who continue to mislead the nation when it comes to information, right? This is a threat to our country. You cannot continue to be spreading false information, scaring the nation, right? Having people in panic mood and so as to what is happening. But my appeal to all our citizens is to pay attention to the official, right, news and so from the Ministry of Health and other organizations as to the way forward.
Absolutely. Right? Now, it's very sad, eh? And I feel like people don't understand that this is not about you. You know, this is not about politics.
No.
This is not about biasness. You know, look, I have a lady here commenting that, oh, this program is biased. That's why there are only 40 viewers. And no, and I want to say to her, shame on you. You know why? And this is not hard talk coming for you, miss. No, they're not coming for you. We're correcting you. Because if this was confusion and bacchanal and bashing of the government, then they would have a lot of views. You know,
but
they
you know,
would have
I
a lot
still,
of people running their mouth.
I still appreciate her
course,
comment because
of course.
she is part of that 40.
She's part of.
Put it that way, she's
So
part of
thank
that.
you, Janelle, for being part of the
thank
40.
you very
Yeah?
much.
We appreciate it.
Yes, and for promoting the information that we,
But
we're
they're
trying
still
to give out.
missing the point.
Yeah, they are.
It doesn't matter in which manner Kevin has spoken, and he has spoken emotionally, and I can understand why. Because for weeks on end, he has been on every radio program, every television program, speaking, advising, telling the nation, be prepared. He has been out 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, sharing information, you know, and it's really sad that now that he is speaking emotionally, people are now saying, oh, well, it's bacchanal and confusion.
Yeah.
But when he was calm and collective and sharing information, they were saying he was lying. You see how people just pull the negativity out of every situation. But I don't want to waste the last 7 minutes we have addressing this issue.
Because it's only a few of them that is
few.
just a handful of them that is making all these foolish comments and try to sway and so. But I mean, we have to keep our eyes on the ball and make people understand that the Ministry of Health, the team put in place, right, by the leadership of this country, is doing an excellent job in protecting this country. We just have to continue to do that.
And for information purposes, Janelle, no, Kevin did not say 2 beds in an isolation room. You see how people are just taking information wrong? No, there are isolation centers around Grenada. Yes. There are 2 isolation units in the general hospital being set up. In the general hospital, in addition to what they already have. You see how I know people don't listen? Because this has been discussed here before. You understand? And there are isolation rooms set up all over the island.
Yes.
You know, and people still have the opportunity, those who we know are responsible, to do self-isolation, which means that they can isolate themselves at home. You know? But I want to encourage people, and to those of you who want to help in the cause, if you want flyers that you can give out, please give us a call.
Yeah.
Give me a call. Send me a message, and we will be more than happy to provide you with those posters, so you can also help with spreading the message. Because these posters, they need to be in every hospital room, every medical center, every school. Every child should go home with a copy.
On every bus.
On every bus, in every business place.
Yes.
We need to get the message out there that we need to start protecting ourselves.
And you know,
that's what's important.
I want to give an advice to those of you who continue to spread false information. Use that time, use those fingers of yours to help us spread, help the Ministry of Health spread the positive information to help secure your countrymen. Utilize that time to spread positive information to the Grenadian public instead of just sitting there and be hypocrites, right? And I call you political, well, some of you are political vagrants, because everything that happens, you put a political spin to it. Your health is a threat. I mean, you are being threatened by a disease, a virus. Yet for all, you put in a political spin to it. You don't see care about you and your family. Come on, we need to do better than that.
We have a last caller on the line. Let's take that quickly. Good morning, caller. Hello?
Say good morning to all. And Devon, welcome back, my brother.
Good. I never left anymore.
After a long United States vacation. Welcome back.
And I was properly tested to make sure that I wasn't carrying the corona. Okay.
You're not viral.
No. Good morning to you. Good morning to you, Win. You have a few minutes.
Yes, I'm just going to say welcome back, and I hope I speak on behalf of a lot that we would hear you more along with Miss Duncan Day, because she needs the help. Right? That's all I'm just calling to say.
All right.
Yeah, brother. So great show, great show, plenty of information, and I think it's high time we start calling the names of the people with the foolishness.
Oh yes.
Seriously, man, it's time. If they do this in the States, all the newspaper printing, nobody leaving the name out of them. They're even putting a picture in the paper if we get caught with them, this kind of stuff. It's time that we take them kind of steps and and correct people. It's not to out people, but to correct them. All right, guys? Have a great one. All right, friend. Yeah.
Because, I mean, the health of a nation is the wealth of a nation. Yeah. And we cannot continue having persons spreading false information and creating panic within our country. We cannot afford to do that, right? And rest assured that those of you who continue to do that, there are things that are in place in the law to put a stop to it,
Yeah.
Right? So don't feel that you have freedom of speech, right? And you continue to spread false information, right? You need to do better than that. As a citizen of this country, you have to help to get our fellow brothers and sisters prepared, right, to face what is to come.
I wanna give you a joke. So the young lady and Janelle, I'm calling on you because you're entertaining me today. This is not out of any maliciousness, but she says she's coming here to extract her kids. So I want to ask the question, take them where? Because the U.S. right now as it stands, and I mean, I'm laughing here, but it's not really funny. The U.S. right now as it stands has cases of people walking around and they don't know who has the virus.
Exactly.
They have had 2 cases of individuals who have contracted the virus who have not even left their state.
And not even in contact with anybody who has been.
Which means that there are people walking around with the virus. The UK has it. Let me just call the list. So I want to know where you're going to take them to. I'm going to give you the list so you can decide on a country that doesn't have it. Let's see. We have China, South Korea, Italy, Iran, Japan, Germany, France, Spain, Singapore, Hong Kong, the USA with now 88 cases, 13 new cases today.
3 deaths.
Kuwait, Bahrain, Thailand, Taiwan, the UK, who now has 36 cases. Australia, Malaysia, Canada with 24 cases. Switzerland, Iraq, UAE, Norway, Netherlands, Austria, Sweden, Israel, Lebanon, Belgium, Croatia, and the list continues. 71 countries and territories around the world that are now affected by the coronavirus. So please.
How many cases does Grenada has?
Huh?
How many cases?
Oh, none.
Good, wonderful.
So please.
The safest place.
Please leave them here and stay where you are, please.
Be safe.
Because we never know. And I've been saying this for the longest while. We will never know where the virus comes from. And this is why preparedness is the only solution that we have. Prepare. Do what you need to do. And I know some of the students are coming home from China. We cannot tell them do not come.
No,
if they can make their way back, fine. We can't tell them don't come. But please, do the diligent thing and report. As Kevin is saying, look, they're coming in now and they're not reporting. And this is as a result of people making them feel that we don't want them here or that the government doesn't want them here. That is not the case. What we are saying is that they are safer there simply because, and if you have been looking at the numbers, right now China is decreasing on the amount of cases that they are getting daily. They are decreasing on the amount of deaths, which means that they are getting a handle. And what I want to believe is that the only reason this thing was so out of control in China, because we are looking at a mass population of people walking around.
1.4 billion.
By the time they even got a handle on the fact that this thing even existed, it would have spread to thousands of people.
Yeah, the Chinese did good in terms of to contain it.
So now they have a handle on it. Let us be mindful, people. The right thing to do is to get ourselves prepared. Prepare.
And we have professional health workers here on the front line, right? They have been, taking charge of the situation, right? Ensuring that the population is safe. We must trust them. We must put that level of confidence in them, because that is their job. And stop criticizing them and maligning them. And so let them do their job, because they have a country and the people at heart. Remember, they have their families living here. They do. Yeah. So they will want to make sure that everything is in place, right? For anything to come. So let us give them the support as much as possible. Let us be together fighting what is to come.
I'll tell you this, Devon. I have, for the past, Nazim knows. Nazim and I have been on social media trying to quell fires, trying to get rid of propaganda. I've been called a lot of things. You know, it's been said that NNP paid me hush money. You know, I wish.
Welcome.
I wish. And Nazim, a little hush money right now in such a bad thing. There is a little extra money in my pocket. But it just goes to show that when you are fighting for a cause, people will always tend to pull the negatives out of it. And to be honest, I don't care. I don't feel bad. I don't regret one post that I have made. You know why? Because at the end of the day, I know the purpose I'm doing it. You know, I'm doing it for the safety of our people, for the safety of my children, you know, for the safety of my mother, my sisters, my brother, you know. That's why I'm doing this. Yeah. I'm doing this because I love Grenada. I love Grenadians. I am a Grenadian to my heart. You know, and to all the people out there who are saying all these things that y'all don't even have right saying. I will be in St. George's this afternoon with flyers, going to the business places and giving out those flyers, making sure that the message is out there. I challenge any one of you to join me.
Of course. Let
us get the message out there. Help people prepare. Not sit down behind a computer and talk about plane coming in from China when you know it's not true. You know? And getting people frightened and upset. It's not right.
But you know what we need to do as a people? Let us start spreading the information through our schools.
Of course.
Let our young ones understand what is going on. Let them help.
Yeah.
Let them help prevent a lot of the things that could go on. When you educate our children, you are educating an army prepared to face anything. Right? Let us not take this thing as a joke. The children, right, is one of our greatest asset when it comes to spreading information and doing the right things. We have to use them. We have to go to the schools. We have to go to the bus stops. The bus stations, on the buses, and spread that information as what to do. And we have good leaders. The Ministry of Health has been charged with that responsibility, and they have been doing a good job.
Of course. And you know, in some cases, when you go on the timelines of some of these people that have been spreading all these rumors, you don't see one video. You don't see one poster encouraging people to prepare themselves.
That is the problem I have.
So I am urging you. Yes. I am begging, I am pleading this morning with Grenadians. Before you pick up your phone to type a message or to share something that you know is not true or may cause panic in this situation, I urge you, share a video, share a poster, speak to a friend, speak to a neighbor, sensitize the people around you on how to prepare for this eventuality. And let us be mindful that we are not doing anybody in Grenada any justice by the lies, the propaganda, and the politicizing of this issue. What we need to do now more than ever is band together as a nation, as a society, as a community, as a village, as Grenadians, to fight against this coronavirus. Don't fight against each other. We ain't benefiting nothing from that. Don't fight against government. You're not benefiting anything from that either. Find out how you can help. Find out what you can do. Be a patriotic Grenadian in all sense of the word patriotism. And let us ensure that we end up, if we do end up with a case, we end up like Vietnam, who had 16 cases and was able to contain it. No new reinfections, nothing of that sort. Let us sensitize and prepare.
Yes, that's the word. Prepare. And every year, as a note, every year we prepare for disasters. All sorts of disasters through NAGMA. We prepare. This is a health disaster.
Yeah.
Right? Let us as a people prepare ourselves, prepare our children. Let them know the importance of continuing to wash their hands.
Yeah.
Right? Do the proper things. Right? Proper hygiene. And so eat properly. Let us take care of our elderly citizens. Pay more attention to them as to the conditions that they are in and how susceptible they are to certain things. We have to be prepared because we cannot afford to have one. One is too much. Right? Our health professionals are out there in the forefront. Our persons in the customs, immigration, they are out there risking their lives and their families' lives to protect a nation. Have we ever think about that? Let us show the appreciation. Let us work together as a people to ensure that we defeat that coronavirus if and whenever it gets to our shores.
Absolutely. Devon, we way over time today, but I feel it's warranted.
It was important.
People need
Very
to
important.
hear. We need to understand, you know? So guys, get out there. Spread the message. Just be a part of the solution and let's stop creating problems. You know? Let's stop creating problems. Let us band together. Let's work together. Let's beat this thing together. That's the only way.
Together.
It's the only way.
A people united would always defeat the coronavirus.
Of course. Of course. Guys, we are out of time, but of course, it's always a pleasure speaking to you in whatever you say and whatever you do. Be safe. Be secure.
We want to be talking to you and not about you.
Absolutely. Enjoy the remainder of your day.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
Grenada's COVID-19 public health threat level raised to high. We'll have details to this story and more in the national report. With the details to the news for Friday, February 28th, 2020, I am Rikisha St. Louis. The Ministry of Health has raised its public health threat alert level to high. Orange or high level means very high possibility expected, and this condition applies when a credible threat of increased infectious diseases exists of disruptive public health activity or activities, with a direct or specific threat against the health sector or country and its dependencies. The decision was taken in accordance with the Ministry's Infectious Diseases Public Health Threat Level Response Protocols at the daily COVID-19 briefings, with the Health Minister Honorable Nicholas Steele and his team managing the current threat of the coronavirus. In taking the decision, the Ministry of Health considered the Caribbean Public Health Agency's CARFA Situation Report number 15, which concluded that the risk for the Caribbean is now moderate to high. Grenadian health authorities, keeping a very close eye on the outbreak of COVID-19, indicated that they are also tracking travelers from Japan, South Korea, Iran, Singapore, and Italy, which have seen steady increases in the number of confirmed cases. The Ministry of Health said it is presently monitoring the situation in the rest of Europe, the United States, North and South America, and any other region where community transmission has been established. Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Francis Martin told the GIS that at this time, all options are being considered and the system is in full response mode. The ministry, acting on sound advice from its local, regional and international public health experts, would like to remind the general public that its importation transmission watch remains in full effect for the entire Tri-Island. In related news, the World Health Organization on Friday raised its global risk assessment of the new coronavirus to its highest level after the epidemic spread to sub-Saharan Africa. The virus has proliferated around the globe over the past week, emerging on every continent except Antarctica, prompting many governments and businesses to try to stop people traveling or gathering in crowded places. COVID-19 has killed more than 2,800 people and infected over 83,000 worldwide, the vast majority in China, since it emerged apparently from an animal market in a central Chinese city in late December. There are no confirmed cases in the Caribbean to date. Here at home, the Sustainable Development Council met with Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Francis Martin on Friday to discuss issues related to the virus. Spencer Thomas, chairman of the Sustainable Development Council, says while the internet is a good source of information, the information posted by some can be misleading.
The main goal is to really ventilate issues relating to the coronavirus. We found that there are many issues in the social media on coronavirus. There are a lot of statements all over the place, and we believe that it is important to hear from the professionals themselves. Hence, we invited Dr. Martin to be here to give us the real information on coronavirus.
He urges the general public to listen to the health officials.
Well, I think the issue here is that we need to, in terms of the coronavirus, what we're hearing from the practitioners at the moment is that we need to be very careful with this issue. It's a very difficult and dangerous situation, but that we need to listen to the professionals and not necessarily all of the issues that we're hearing in the social media.
Continuing with the news, the Ministry of Legal Affairs has given assurances that the Registry of the Supreme Court will not be temporarily closed while problems with its current location are addressed. The ministry has dismissed as false and misleading claims in recent reports of an imminent shutdown of the registry. Minister for Legal Affairs Honorable Kendra Mathurin Stewart said the reports of an imminent closure are completely untrue, and explained that what is happening is that the staff and registry functions are being relocated. She further stated that the acting registrar has been in communication with the members of the Bar Association to keep them appraised of all the developments. The minister confirmed that temporary arrangements are in place to facilitate lodgement of deeds at the Parliament building effective Monday 2nd March to Wednesday 11th March 2020. All other operations will continue or remain at the Church Street compound until March 11th. Thereafter, to facilitate continued access to information from Deeds and Land Registry, the registry, together with the Ministry of Infrastructure, will make arrangements for remote connectivity or access to the existing servers. The entire operation of the registry will be relocated during the month of March to the second floor of the Coach J. McCormick building on Church Street, which also houses modern photo studios. The relocation of the Supreme Court Registry has become necessary because the compound on Church Street that currently houses the main operations of the registry is in urgent need of repairs, and interventions will be planned and executed under the supervision of the Ministry of Infrastructure Development and Implementation. In recognition of this, the government of Grenada over the last month began the process of planning the relocation of the operations of the registry. The Minister for Legal Affairs reiterated that there are no plans to discontinue operations of the registry, and every effort will be made to ensure that the public is kept informed of the actions being taken. This is the National Report. We'll have more news after the break. Grenada's permanent representative to the Organization of American States, Yolan Smith, has signed a $20 million disaster risk management development credit policy for Grenada with a deferred drawdown option for catastrophe risk, the CAT-DDO. The CAT-DDO provides Grenada with a contingent financing in case of natural disasters while supporting the country's reform program to build multi-sectoral resilience to disaster and climate risk. It was signed with World Bank Director Tassid Said and is the first CAT-DDO approved for the Latin America and the Caribbean region, financed by the International Development Association, IDA, the concessional financing arm of the World Bank. The line of credit is expected to strengthen the viability of Grenada's contingency financing arrangements in the event of a catastrophe triggered by natural hazards, including public health-related events. The credit facility will also support the efforts of the government to implement the recently approved disaster risk financing strategy, which was developed with World Bank technical support. Continuing with the news, the Ministry of Infrastructure Development and Implementation says rehabilitation work will begin on the Pearls Bridge on Monday. A contract for work to be undertaken was awarded in December. The material to commence work was received on Friday, 20th February. Work is expected to last 2 weeks, and the ministry is working towards opening the bridge on or before March 20th. Finally, in the news, officials of Spice Mass Corporation and the Ministry of Culture assured soca artists returning from Trinidad and Tobago that they are all winners. On Friday, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Culture, Desiree Stevens, and CEO of Spice Mass, Kelvin Jacobs, met the three Grenadian artists, Looney Spark and Electrify and Skinny Banton, upon arrival at the Morris Bishop International Airport following their participation in the 2020 International Soca Monarch in Trinidad. P.S. Stevens told the gathering during a short reception that Grenada is proud of their performances and will continue to support them as they keep the flag flying not only in the region but internationally.
Although we don't have the crown, in our books they are winners because they went out there and they truly represented Grenada soca, Grenada culture on the regional scene, and it's something they continue to do. They fly that flag high wherever they go, and we are extremely proud of them for what they would have accomplished prior and during this season in Trinidad. So we want to welcome them back officially, let them know that we are extremely proud of their achievements and that we will continue to support them whenever they go out there to represent, because they're not doing it for themselves. They're representing Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique.
CEO Kelvin Jacobs encouraged them to not be daunted by the results of any competition. He explained that their presence and participation will take them further in the art form.
I was there in person to see you at the performance, and your performance was exceptional. The people who were around me, they looked at your performance and they were in awe at your performance. We know what the results turned out to be, but for me, I just want to tell you that you are bigger than the results. You are bigger than the judges who sit there and put a score next to your music. The people who are there they knew what your worth is, and the people who are viewing and promoters, etc., they would see your music and they would value your worth, and it would take you further from Soca Monarch stage in Trinidad. So do not be despondent by the results. We know that you did very well, you did your best, and we are indeed proud of you.
The artist spoke about the experience in Trinidad and how they are gearing up for Spice Mass 2020.
Our third time, partaking, and we're so happy to represent Grenada to the fullest. We went today, we do our best, and as you mentioned, we are winners in our own rights. Coming out of the competition, just the feedback from people in Trinidad, away from Trinidad, the diaspora, messages, DMs, we feel very happy to represent, and we went out there and we did our best to represent Grenada, represent ourselves, represent our brand. Skinny as well, did very well in the competition, and that for us is a win.
We have to be prepared. You say be prepared for a disaster. We have to be prepared. The folks are coming. They want to see what we have to offer. They heard, never experienced the job, never experienced the vibes, the soca music, and it's infectious. So we just need to do what we need to do from now. We have the responsibilities to put great music out there. And the owners and the government to ensure that we put on a product that the world can talk about.
Representing Grenada and representing the people of Grenada, I was happy to know everybody was tuning. Well, not everybody, but majority of the people was tuning on all the live. I remember Carriacou having a live screen and all that different stuff. So it bring more motivation, it bring more vibes to continue going on and continue doing what is necessary. But I was happy to represent Grenada. Everything didn't play the way we expected and we wanted it to. But hopefully next time, we'll live to fight another day.
That story just ended the national report for today, Friday, February 28th. Let's recap the top story. Grenada's COVID-19 public health threat level raised to high. On behalf of the entire news team here at the Government Information Service, I am Rikisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.